You're welcome to my channel. Thanks for visiting, subscribing, giving thumbs up or comment, and sharing my presentations. Today, I'll be talking about malaria control. A little background here before we can delve deeply into control of malaria. First thing first, we have to know about the vector that carries this trouble from one person to the other or from one place to another, and that is female Anopheles mosquito. We need to know about the life cycle from egg to larva to pupa and adult. And with that, we can control each of that. We can handle the eggs, we can handle the larva, we can handle the pupa, we can handle the adult stage separately. Also, we need to know about the plasmodium life cycle. Later on, in the course of this presentation, you'll be hearing about Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium malariae, nolis, or simium. You'll hear about this. Here, there is what is known as hepatic schizoid or pre-erythrocytic stage. You will not see signs and symptoms yet, and let me quickly delve into that. Some in endemic zones like in Africa, Southeast Asia, India, everywhere, would have approached their physicians that they have signs and symptoms, blah, 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 and the diagnosis is made, you have malaria, and you'll be given medication, right? But eradication has not been done. Then you board flight, bush to Europe, bush, North America. 1 year after, you're done with malaria. Started querying yourself, querying people around. I've been in US, I've been in UK for more than 6 months, for almost a year. No female Anopheles mosquito here. I've never been bitten by a mosquito, but here I am with malaria again. Yes. Do you know what has happened? The erythrocytic stage here gave you the signs and symptoms that forced you to run to your doctor to seek help. Your doctor did the right thing, treated you, cleared that, signs and symptoms gone, you're fine. But the hepatic stage, the hepatic schizoid or pre-erythrocytic stage is still intact. So you boarded flight to Europe or North America with that. And later on, it will come out, it will grow, it will multiply, and then get into the red blood cells and give you signs and symptoms again. So we will see what we are going to do about prophylaxis, acute phase treatment, eradication of the hepatic schizoid that will prevent relapse in future. Prevention, they say, is cheaper than cure. That is, if the situation is even curable at all. For example, if you prevent yourself from acquiring HIV virus, that would be great, because if you don't prevent yourself from acquiring it and you are infected with HIV virus, it is not curable as of today. World Health Organization is in the middle of the campaign and all efforts to control malaria. They have WHO Global Technical Strategy for Malaria, and the goal is from 2016 to 2030, they will have this under control. We're in 2021, so it is ongoing. Now, for us to be able to control or curtail malaria, we need to know about the transmission. The journey is going to start from the bites from mosquitoes, particularly female Anopheles mosquito. Okay? There is likelihood of vertical or congenital transmission, that is from mother to fetus. Also, through blood transfusion, sharing of needles, organ transplantation, and nosocomial transmission, that is acquired while taking treatment in the hospital. Note this, Appropriate screening with blood peripheral smears will be fine. To do what? To detect the presence of Plasmodium in the above cases and act appropriately. Okay, you cannot control something you don't know about or you don't keep an eye upon. So surveillance. Let's have active surveillance, and that would include house-to-house detection of malaria. I don't know how that is very possible in cities, but passive surveillance is quite feasible. That is having hospital record of malaria cases. So that will give us the clue that this is the level of malaria in these parts of the world. So we will know if it is endemic or not in the region. Now the control. Will we either control using prophylactic anti-malaria, effective malaria drugs, protection from mosquito bites, mosquito control itself, the use of vaccines, and genetic control? We'll go through all these topics one by one in a bit. Now, protection from mosquito bites. That is where we should start the entire journey of malaria control. If we can wipe out all mosquitoes or we prevent them from biting us, particularly female Anopheles mosquito, then we'll be fine. So, if that is the goal, mosquito repellents, DET, Picardine, IRL 3585. Still on protection from mosquito bites, 4-PMD could be used. And you've seen the full nomenclature here, right? This is useful when mosquito bites at sunset. And zoophilic. Zoophilic means they like animals, they bite animals also. And that is in Asia and South America. But it is useless or unuseful when mosquitoes bite at night. And anthropophilic, meaning they love feeding or biting human beings, and that is in West Africa. So West Africans using these to control mosquitoes will have no more job to do because the mosquitoes will be hiding in the house, and at night they are interested in biting human beings. They will not go out to bite animals on the field. Still on protection from mosquito bites can use insecticide treated nets, pyrethroid for bed net treatment, newer long-lasting insecticidal nets that are wash-proof. Then community-wide use of insecticide-treated bed nets is helpful also in preventing mosquito from biting you. Still on protection from mosquitoes, IRS, that is indoor residual spraying with DDT, is helpful. You can use permethrin and pyriproxyfen. Pyriproxyfen is an insect growth regulator, okay? And this will become necessary when there's resistance to pyrethroid. Okay, you've tried to protect yourself from being bitten by female Anopheles mosquito. Now, you can do another thing, that is B, prophylaxis against malaria. Infants can take sevadosine pyrimethamine during second and third doses of Tdap and measles, mumps, rubella vaccination. In infants exposed to HIV, you can use clotrimazole, that is Bactrim or Septra or Septrain, depending on the one available in your country or jurisdiction. And you can use that at ages 4 to 6 weeks old, until post-breastfeeding and until HIV is ruled out. Still on prophylaxis, children in seasonal transmission zones can have what is known as intermittent preventive treatment. Okay, Monthly amodiaquine in rainy seasons can be given with cotrimazole in children less than 6 years. Dihydroartemisinin combined with piperacillin could be given once every month or once every 3 months. Still on prophylaxis against malaria, if we are dealing with pregnant women, we can embark on intermittent preventive treatment, just like in seasonal malaria zones. If the case is that of a patient with HIV, we can use cotrimazole, like Bactrim, Septrin, or Septrin. If the patient is having sickle cell disease and we want prophylaxis against malaria, then we can use Proguanil. In individuals with AA genotype, you can place them under a PRIM, but be watchful because the PRIM now has resistance worldwide. You can have mass drug administration. For example, you can give artemisinin plus another medication. So in that case, dihydroartemisinin piperacillin will be good for chemoprophylaxis. So the third thing we can do is systemic insecticides. In that case, can give ivermectin with or without albendazole. The next thing we can do is vaccination. You can check my channel here for full info on malaria vaccine. Just check this link here. Mosquito vector control. Mosquito is the vector, okay? So the vector control in malaria. Here, the goal is to reduce or eradicate mosquitoes completely. To be effective, we need to know about the life cycle of mosquito itself. So, from eggs to metamorphose to larva. You remember metamorphosis, right? From the larva to pupa, from pupa to adult. So, we'll go over all these stages in how to control the vector, that is the mosquito. Here, our problem is female anopheles mosquitoes. There's coolers, Aedes, and so on. I'm not concerned about that right now. The female anopheles mosquitoes will lay hundreds of cigar-shaped eggs per cycle. They lay eggs in clean water, like rain puddles, water tanks, and irrigation sites. So, we've known where they lay eggs, right? Then, if we don't want that eggs to be able to survive to metamorphose to larva, what are we going to do? We are going to empty all stagnant water, okay? Clear bushes around, replace water storage tanks periodically, pick away any container that can retain water, and around our dwellings, make sure there is no container that could retain water and there's no bush where water can become stagnant somewhere and these mosquitoes can lay eggs. If you have succeeded in keeping the eggs from developing to larvae, great, okay? But if the eggs are developed to larvae, then how do we know? This is the larva of female Anopheles mosquito. It will lie horizontally on water and no siphon. Larvicides can't kill it, but service oil can kill this by suffocation. What are we going to do to deal with this larva from going or progressing or metamorphosing to pupa? We are going to do pockets of water that is found around. Remember, they are going to make use of water, right? Clear bushes again, create fluctuation in reservoir water levels, and certain species of fish like Gambusia and Oecilia can feed on the larvae and the ponds. So if you are living in an endemic zone, you may choose to raise this type in your ponds. Still on vector control, now the pupa. What will happen if metamorphosis from egg to larva and now to pupa has already occurred? Well, first thing first, let's know where the pupa will be found. It will be found on water surface with both head and thorax fused together, known as cephalothorus. It can breathe, but it cannot feed. How do we eradicate it then? We can use pyriproxyfen. Remember, I said this earlier that pyriproxyfen is an insect growth regulator. This is useful in water-filled pits. It prevents the complete metamorphosis from egg to larva to pupa and then to adult. You may use biological control in regions where that is available and will not cause trouble to other animals or human beings. Bacillus thuringiensis could be used for that purpose. Now, you failed in controlling the eggs, the larvae, the pupa. Now you have adult mosquito. Oh wow. Metamorphosis from pupa to adult is about 2 days. Okay. There will be female and male, and they will both feed on nectars. Female, in addition to that, will need blood for eggs production, and so they'll feed on animals. At age of 3, the blood sucking will start. Adult mosquito control. You can use indoor residual spraying with DDT. You can use malantoin, organophosphate, carbamen, pyrethroids, and little house loss. This is, I will not say it is funny, but to those who are using this method, they lure mosquitoes inside and then kill them. Effective malaria drops. You've done everything before now, no success, okay? Someone is not down with malaria, right? A good acute case treatment will prevent further transmission. Medications that can clear erythrocytic schizoid will be used in the face of signs and symptoms. Remember, the hepatic stage will not give signs and symptoms. So, after clearing the erythrocytic schizoid with signs and symptoms, we have to follow that to eradicate the hepatic schizoid. Then we have to give other medications. The life cycle in mosquito that bites will never occur again if we can clear both erythrocytic schizoids in acute phase, and we follow that up with medications that can handle the monocytes and gametocytes and prevent hepatic schizoids. Then we are fine. So the life cycle will end there, and again, we will not be able to transmit that to any other person, even when bitten by a mosquito or not. Finally, the genetic control. Genetic control has remained the future of fate. If everyone would try to use the above measures, if you do that within your locality and then everywhere in the world, you've done one thing or the other to control the mosquito itself, or you have prophylaxis, or when there's acute case, you clear both the erythrocytic stage that gives signs and symptoms, and after the signs and symptoms would have disappeared, meaning you clear the erythrocytic stage, you are not leaving the patient to go unattended to. You say, okay, I need to eradicate the schizoids in the liver. Then you prescribe your primaquine to handle that. Then we might be able to say one day that malaria will be completely under control, and we can be dreaming that it will be eradicated. Then the hope is there. So Genetic control is not yet here, but in the nearest future, it might be. So, vaccination, prophylaxis, eradication of erythrocytic stage, eradication of hepatic stage. Now, prevent mosquito from biting you. Take care in a way to prevent the life cycle of mosquito itself. Study the life cycle of Plasmodium to be able to use appropriate medications. All this will be handled here. I have more presentations on malaria alone. Just watch this channel for more presentations. Thanks for listening. Remember to share this. Remember to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it.